Hello, and welcome to Candidates Up Front. This is a public interest program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. I'm Judith Cranis. Our November 4th municipal election is coming up, and voters will be selecting judges, school directors, township officials, borough officials, city officials, and these officials affect a lot of things in our lives. Most importantly, they decide how our tax dollars are spent. That's important to all of us. So if you are eligible to vote and you are not registered, please register by the deadline of October 20th. You can do that at the Berks County Services Center, which is on Court Street in downtown Reading, or you can do it online. Online, please make sure you are using the official site for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Search for PA.gov, that's PA and then that little period, and then gov, and then go to the search bar and put in voting, and that will take you to the website. You can check your voting status, you can register to vote, you can change your party, you can locate your polling place, or you can apply for an absentee or a mail-in ballot. And the deadline to apply for that mail-in ballot is October 28th. Now, let me just note that that doesn't give you a lot of time to receive it and get it back, so I would do it earlier. Everyone who cares how their money is spent needs to participate. And it helps if you've met the candidates. And that's why the League is interviewing candidates, those who wanted to be interviewed, and only in the contested races. For each race, the candidates will get the same basic questions and will have the same amount of time to answer them. So let's begin.
Hello, I'm Nan Dunford, a member of the League of Women Voters of Berks County. The featured office today is Reading City Council. Council members act on legislation, set the budget, and confirm appointments of the city manager and members of boards. They need to have lived in their district 1 year prior to the primary election and must retain residency in their district. They serve part-time for a 4-year term. The salary is $8,000. There are 2 candidates in Reading District 4, Democrat Ray Baker and Republican Gary D. Colby. You may vote for one. District 4 is Northeast Reading. Each candidate's views are their own and not those of the League or BCTV. Today, our candidate is Ray Baker. Welcome, Ray.
Good. Thanks for having me, Nan. I appreciate it.
So, Ray, first, please tell us why you believe it is important for you to serve on City Council.
I believe I should serve on City Council because I am the candidate with the best ideas and the best motivation to fight for our city and for our district. I've knocked on more doors than anyone running in District 4 this year. That's how I ended up with over 70% of the Democratic vote, because I've been talking to my neighbors and figuring out what we need to fix this city and make it better and improve it. I want to fight for what makes Reading better, and that starts with rebuilding downtown Reading, adding more housing, and then improving our existing infrastructure, such as our parks, as well as our sidewalks and stuff of that nature, which improve quality of life. I'm the candidate who knows what the people need because he's talked to them. Everyone from 13th Ward all the way up to Northmont at the top of the city has heard or seen from me, and they know that they will get a candidate who is fighting for them day in and day out, both in my day job as an assistant district attorney, where I serve our entire community and our county, and if elected as their city councilman, who will fight for them tirelessly in every day that I can to make Reading better.
Thank you. What skills would you bring to this office, Ray?
I think one of my best skills is my speaking ability. I'm a prosecutor as my day job, so I talk for a living, essentially, fighting to keep our community safe. I'm pretty diligent and hardworking when it comes to things that I care about. I mentioned earlier the amount of doors I've knocked, the people I've been involved with. I've been involved with this community and in this city since I moved here, in everything from local government, being involved in the Berks Charter Review Commission, where I served in not the current one, but the previous one in 2019, as well as being involved with the Democratic Committee as a committee man and a member of the executive board. I believe doing that and having my connections with government, both state, local, and to a lesser degree federal, I believe will help with the community. I can work with our state reps because I know them, and our state senator. I can work with the members of council, as well as other localities outside of our district because I deal with them all the time. Because to improve Reading, you don't just improve downtown Reading and that's the end of it. Because you need to have investment and have connections between the people in the suburbs as well as the people in the heart of the city to make Reading better.
Thank you. What is your personal philosophy about public service and the role of City Council?
Listen to what the people want and figure out what the biggest issues are and act. I would say one of the biggest failings of our government over the past few years has been that last one. We do a lot of listening, which is good. We can formulate a lot of what's wrong with the city. I've been hearing it since I moved here. We need to fix We need to fix downtown Penn Street. We need more housing. We need more businesses coming into the city. But what do? We do a million of those commissions, and we'll do study after study, spending thousands, if not millions of dollars, and then not acting. And I think that's the key. We need to pick a plan and go with it, as they've done in Allentown, in Bethlehem, everywhere. Every one of these small cities that are just like Reading, that's what they've done. They've picked a plan to fix their downtown and fix their key areas, to bring business and homes and people back into the city. And as you do that in this modern era, that is how smaller cities outside of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, those smaller cities like the ones I mentioned and others, how they have thrived. And we can do it too.
We can. What should City Council do in the long and short term? So think of it in two phases to improve the governance and quality of life in Reading.
I think short term, we need to start enforcing codes. You saw that building fall down on 8th Street, I believe it's 8th and Green, if I have the cross streets correct. That is due to poor code enforcement. I've lived in apartments like that before. Thankfully, I live in a house now with my wife, my soon-to-be-born daughter, and our dog Murphy. And what I can tell you is those two apartments I lived in on North 8th Street, a different part of it, and in Lancaster Avenue, both had their ceilings cave in. And that is not because codes was doing the most efficient job in enforcing their codes against landlords, because so many of our houses in this city are cut-up apartments, and the code's not being enforced there is what creates poor living conditions. It helps increase crime. It reduces people wanting to live in the city. It makes them want to move out. So I think code enforcement is the key to the short term. I would follow that up with, I think we need to work to create overlay districts to reduce regulation to help build more housing and more apartments in the key parts of Reading. And I know I'm running out of time, but lastly, I'd like to see a volunteer program to help reduce fines and costs for people that are on parking and truancy fines, to help them clean up Reading. We have a lot of dirty places in Reading, a lot of trash, and creating a program to help get people out of their fines that they're stuck in from the Reading Parking Authority and truancy, and helping improve our city, I think, are things that we need to get done in the short term, and building the housing, especially in businesses, in the long term.
You've talked about how you've walked the streets and gotten to know people. Have the people of your district or the district that you're running for advised you about any priority projects or policies that they would like to see City Council adopt?
Well, if you live in the 17th Ward like I do, the biggest issue outside of maybe Northmont is Hampton Boulevard. There's accidents there constantly. There was an accident there, I want to say a week ago, on Hampton Boulevard. Thankfully, the woman, I believe it was a woman, the drive was a single car accident, hit a parked car and is okay. But there's too much fast traffic on Hampton Boulevard. We need some sort of traffic calming. We need to reduce the amount of parked cars on that street to ease seeing of the cross traffic. That is, it has stop signs, but depending on which street you're on, you may not be able to see the traffic coming on Hampton. That is a key issue. And a lot of it in Northeast Reading, we're pretty blessed in District 4. It's one of the areas with the higher home ownership. It has lower crime. It is a safer place to live. You have Albright and so many parks there. But what we do need is some quality of life issues. We need more stop signs on certain streets, like Perry Street, which is what I heard about directly. Better communication from the government. When people call in and say, this car has been parked here for weeks, it's an illegal car, it is a commercial vehicle, and nothing gets done, people get frustrated. And when a guy like me knocks on their door, the first thing they say is, when are you going to get this tow truck moved that's not supposed to be here? Or when are you going to get a stop sign or people are driving too fast? Stuff like that is what I heard of the most.
What are your thoughts on going forward with a city ice skating rink at City Park?
I actually spoke directly on this matter when the mayor unveiled it at City Park. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and I will say then what I said now, or say now what I said then. I do not agree with putting an ice skating rink in City Park. One, it will destroy multiple centuries-old oak trees that we cannot replace. It is a beautiful green space that people in that part of the city use directly, and it is for an ice skating rink that will be open 7 weeks out of the year, and then it'll be a multi-purpose area, as they're calling it, for the rest of the year. I don't think it's worth the funds that we're going to spend on it and have to pay on it for maintenance and upkeep. I think a better use of that, if we're going to build an ice skating rink, because I don't think it's a terrible idea, I just think it's a terrible placement. Moving it to Penn Street, especially where they tore down those buildings, right over here by where we are right now, would be a better spot for it. It's something that wouldn't take away from green space. It would get people into downtown Reading, and then using it as a multi-purpose thing there would make more sense, as we would have more parking. It wouldn't ruin a residential area, and it would provide another reason people to come to downtown Reading and encourage people to open a business down here. So if we're going to build it, I say move it to Penn Street. I do not believe it's a good spot there in City Park.
Interesting. What do you believe are the most effective community and economic development strategies that the city can undertake in the next few years?
I think we need to copy. There's no cheating penalty for copying what your neighbors are doing in local government. We need to look at what has worked in Allentown, what has worked in Bethlehem, Lancaster, Phoenixville. All of these areas were just like Reading years ago. Allentown especially. They just had an article, I believe, in the New York Times the other day about how they have revitalized. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel here. We take what they are doing. We fix downtown Reading. You get people in downtown Reading after business hours. People like me are in downtown Reading every day, but you come down here, as someone who lives in the city, you come down here after 5 o'clock, other than maybe some kids at Alverny and a couple of businesses, it's a ghost town. We're a city of 100,000. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
We need to invest heavily in downtown Reading, get people coming down here and opening businesses. I would say closing off the streets like we do for First Fridays, do that every weekend when the weather's good. We're getting to the point where we'd probably stop doing it for the year, but doing stuff like that like farmers markets, as well as encouraging people to for us to close off the streets and let business owners know, hey, for 3, 4, 5 months out of the year, you're going to get to use our big sidewalks and parts of our streets to bring people down and into your businesses and make it easier for you to make money. You'll get people back down into Reading. And I think that's where we start.
What is your view on what makes an effective law enforcement and community policing program for the city?
As someone who is probably the most, of anyone running in city government this cycle, the most involved in law enforcement, I can say you need people invested. One of the beautiful parts of District 4 is the people here are invested in the community and they are invested in helping. One of the reasons we have such problems with this is I think it's the neighborhoods aren't as nice as they could be. It's a combination of landlords not taking care of their properties as well as they could. So if your landlord's not taking care of your property, you're not going to care about the neighborhood. Your goal is just to pay your rent and survive, and if you can get lucky, you move to a nice neighborhood or move out of the city. I think that's got to be the first step. We've got to help the community buy in. We need them to want to work with law enforcement because they know that people are fighting for them every day and that they feel happy and comfortable in the neighborhood. Hampden Heights and College Heights don't have these problems because people are so comfortable in their neighborhood. They love living there. They talk to their neighbors. They make it known when there's a problem. So I think the way to improve law enforcement and improve community policing is to improve quality of life in all of our neighborhoods and show people that when something's wrong, you come to the government and the government will help you as best we can. So I think that's where you start.
Please tell us your view on the current city budget process and what measures are most important to maintain the financial health of the city. Certainly was a big issue in the past 10, 15 years.
Well, we're out of Act 47, which is good. We have a healthy budget right now. I mean, if you've paid attention to the city council meetings, our budget is strong at the moment, which is good. But what we don't have is plans for growing our tax base in the future right now. That's our biggest issue, in my opinion. We're out of Act 47 because we got our financial house in order. But the next part of the budget process is spending some money, not all the money, not bankrupting ourselves again, but using the money we have as well as working with our developers and the stakeholders in the development and the real estate community to bring people and businesses back into Reading. We need to grow that tax base. I think that starts with more businesses. One thing we need to avoid doing, which previous administrations, I'm not accusing the current one of this, is bringing too many nonprofits into the city who don't pay taxes per se. Some of them do, which is good. But if we're going to bring in more businesses, we need to be bringing in a tax base, both residential and commercial especially to downtown Reading, to improve that and wherever we can by building new apartments and getting people into the city to increase our tax base. Because as our tax base grows, the more money we can spend in the future, and it's a good cycle instead of a vicious cycle, a good cycle to a city improvement.
The next question is about public boards, authorities, and how to go about recruiting citizens to serve on them.
One thing we could do, I think, I mentioned the issue that came up was you can't serve on a board if you owe fines and costs. One is to implement a program to help people reduce their fines and costs and get them out of that ineligibility. I think we need to communicate more with the community to know what boards and commissions are available. I think that's part of a city councilman's job. I'm going to make it clear to people who I think are involved in the community if they want to get involved. I served on that one commission, the Charter Review Commission. I had to be found, and because of my involvement with the Democratic Party, at that time, Councilwoman Sahelnick, because I was in District 1 at the time, was able to reach out and be like, oh, hey, I know Ray Baker lives in the neighborhood. He might want to serve on this. So that's what happened. But it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be, I have to wiggle down the way to find them. But we do need to be doing more of that, but also getting more out into the community and more information so they know how powerful those commissions are and why we need people on them of all shapes, sizes, and colors.
The next question is about communications. Is there anything new that the city can do to increase public participation in decision-making, particularly in light of social media and changes that in the ways that citizens get their information from public officials?
I think maybe a little more involvement with social media, with stuff like Instagram and Live. I know we stream city council meetings on Facebook Live. I think adding Instagram Live to that as well wouldn't be a bad idea. City council meetings aren't the things that young people want to see, and maybe if you're like me, and I'm not young anymore, sadly, but if you're a little bit weird like being into local government, you might go and find it anyways. But stuff like that, I think, would be useful. I think even though it's not a new style of, a new style of communication, I think more town halls, getting out into the community more, going, what are the issues you're facing, and then relaying them both either on Facebook or on Instagram for people to be able to know what's going on, I think would be comfortable. Doing more than just, oh, well, we had a city council meeting and you didn't show up for public comment. We got to be a little more proactive than that in my mind.
Is there anything special, one thing that you just would like to achieve during your term in office, something that just is really driving you?
It's tough to choose.
It is.
I would say, because I'd say the entirety of my campaign has been about affordability. I think I'd like to see over the course of those 4 years at a minimum of 1,000 new homes. And by homes, I mean apartments. It doesn't mean, I don't think we'll build 1,000 single-family homes in the city, nor should we. 1,000 new homes at minimum. The biggest problem we're having right now is even though we're a city that's population is growing, but not at an exponential or humongous rate, rents keep rising far too quickly for people who live in this city. And it's because of a lack of homes. Your landlord doesn't have to fix your apartment because he knows you've got nowhere to go. Developers are chomping at the bit to build more homes and build in our city, especially if the train comes back, because Lord knows if we get that back and you can commute from here to Philadelphia, then housing prices could really skyrocket in a way that would be bad. So I think my big thing would be building more homes and working with our developers to put more people in affordable, good homes in our city to make them want to stay in Reading, not try to flee to the suburbs.
Let's see, we have very little time left. Let's move on to your closing statement. Would you like to have one last message for the viewers?
Of course. If you haven't figured out by now, my name's Ray Baker, and I'm an assistant DA here in Berks County. And I've lived in Reading for the past 8 years, and I couldn't pick a better place to live. I love this city. I want to fight for the city as I've done every day since I got hired by John Adams to work for you as an assistant DA. I believe we need good people in government who are going to fight like hell to make it a better place. We do that by building a better city, by building new homes, by improving downtown Reading and making it back to the place that it once was, where people wanted to walk down the street and wanted to open up businesses. It can be done. It's not recreating the wheel, but we've got to move forward and do it. I'm a fighter who believes in doing that, and anyone who knows me knows when I get my mind on something, I fight like crazy. I won't use another swear word to do it every time. Please elect me and vote this November, and vote Ray Baker for District 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray Baker, for sharing your views with us. Viewers, please remember that there is another candidate for Reading City Council District 4, Gary Colby. You may vote for one. You will find candidates up front interviews on BCTV and its website and YouTube page. For more information on more candidates, go to the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. For more information on election procedures, contact Berks County Election Services at elections@BerksPA.gov. Telephone number is 610-478-6490. Thank you for watching Candidates Up Front.